What's up guys, my name is Brandon and today we're going to be talking all about iOS 11. I'm going to show you some of the main new features, some of the hidden features, and also why you may not want to update to it just yet. Now I know a lot of you have probably already updated to iOS 11, but even if you have, this video will be a good refresher on some of the new features and everything here in iOS 11. Now before we get started, if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to hit that subscribe button as I have a lot more in-depth iOS 11 videos coming soon, along with iPhone 8 and iPhone 10 videos later down the road. So let's not waste any more time, let's go and get right into it and talk about iOS 11, which is running here on my iPhone 7. So first of all, yes, the GM build is the same as the final version which was released yesterday. So if you installed with a beta profile, you would have been on the GM before yesterday when the final version of iOS 11 came out, and you would not have got the update because you were already on the same build number, which is 15A372. I got that question a lot over on Twitter, so I wanted to clear that up right at the beginning. So now let's talk about some of the new features here in iOS 11, and I'm not going to cover every single one since there are hundreds of them, and I made a video, top 55 hidden features, and then all the beta videos showed a lot of the, really small UI changes and things like that. So if you want to see all the real in-depth features, go back and watch those videos. I'll have them up in the card right now. We're just going to be going over the biggest and most important features here in iOS 11. So the first thing you're going to notice when you unlock your device on iOS 11 is that you have some new icons. So you can see the icon for the App Store, we have the iTunes Store here, we have the Maps, we have Contacts, we have a lot of new icons here in iOS 11. We also have the Files application, which is great for transferring files from iPhone to iPhone or from Mac to iPhone, which I use a lot, and it's very convenient. We also have macOS Server, which is actually not working as of yet. I assume this is going to be working in around iOS 11.1 when the iPhone 10 comes out, but we're going to have to kind of wait and see on that. We also have a brand new control center here in iOS 11, which is probably the biggest change overall in iOS 11. So you can see it just looks completely different than anything we've ever seen in iOS before. So we have all these different toggles here. You can change the brightness, the volume right there. You can also 3D touch on everything. And I should also mention that all these toggles are customizable. I'll show you that here in a second. But you can 3D touch on any of these icons and get more options there. So you can see you can set a timer by simply 3D touching. And if you don't have a 3D touch device, what's really cool is that you can actually just long press and it will, imitate 3D touch, which is awesome. You can also 3D touch on the music right here and you can get this nice little player right there. You can change also, where you want it to be playing and things like that. So let me go back and show you in the settings how you can actually customize the control center. So if you just go to settings and then control center right here, you can go to customize controls and you can see you can move everything around and you can add things in there as well, which is really, really cool and really reminds me of a jailbreak tweak. There were multiple jailbreak tweaks in the past that allowed you to customize the control center and have different toggles in there, but this is really cool. You can literally just add in different things right there and they'll show up right away. So yeah, that's the new control center in iOS 11. A lot of people have mixed opinions on this. A lot of people like the simplicity of iOS 10's control center, but I personally love the control center here in iOS 11. It took me a little bit to get used to, but I do really love it. We do also have a brand new control center. So if you swipe down from the top, you're going to notice how it looks just like the lock screen. And you're going to have some notifications here. And if you swipe up from the bottom, you're going to get notifications from earlier today. I only have one from earlier today because I just cleared them, but you can see it shows it right there, which is really, really cool. You also have the option if you swipe over to view or clear it. And you also have this right here where you can clear all notifications at once. Then if we go into our notes here and go to the keyboard, if you go ahead and long press on the emoji or the globe, whatever it is down there, you're going to see we have two new options here for one-handed keyboard, both for left-handed users and also right-handed users. So this is very, very useful for Plus iPhones. I use this all the time on my iPhone 7 Plus, not so much on my iPhone 7, but it's very useful for the plus-sized iPhones. We also have a brand new screenshot UI. So if we go ahead and take a screenshot real quick, you're going to notice that we have the little preview of it down here. And if you go ahead and click on that, you actually get the option to crop it, mark it up, and all kinds of new features. So you can just select like a marker, a pencil, we have all these different things you can do. So if I just select this pencil right there, you can just start writing on it, go ahead and click on done, and save to photos, or you can delete screenshot right there. Go ahead and click save to photos and boom, it's done. And if you don't want to go through all that, if you just take a screenshot and if you go ahead and swipe over, it automatically saves it to your camera roll as well, or you could just wait for it to disappear. We also have screen recording finally natively here in iOS 11. So you can see it gives you a countdown right there at the bottom, and then it's going to start recording your screen. You can also record the audio from the actual device or from a microphone. So you can kind of do a voiceover if you did like commentaries on YouTube or something like that. And you have two options to end the recording. You can tap the red at the top and click stop, or you can go back into the control center and tap on the record button again, and it will automatically save it to your photo library. This is really, really cool, and I love that they added the countdown because that wasn't there earlier. But the only bad thing is that once you click it, you can't cancel it. Even when it's going through the countdown, I really wish you could cancel it because sometimes I would accidentally press that and I did not want to actually be screen recording. Another new feature in iOS 11 is the ability to move multiple app icons at once. Finally, this is something that's been on Android forever and one of my biggest dream features in iOS. iOS. All you have to do is go into wiggle mode, start moving one icon, and then simply tap on any other icon. Now, it doesn't work all the time. It's still pretty buggy, but you can see here, if you start moving an icon and just simply tap on another, maybe. So let's go ahead out of that. So you can see it's still not perfect yet. This is the first time we've had this implemented into iOS. So if we start moving one and start tapping on another, there we go, finally. So you can see we have the 2 number right there. I'm not sure if you can really see that, but it takes a little bit to actually get these going. I'm not really sure why it's so buggy right now. It wasn't even this buggy in the betas, but this is something you can see it's working right now. I moved 2 icons, but still a little bit buggy. I hope they work on that. I hope Apple works on that. There we go. So we have a few right there. We have 2 still. See if we can get 3. There we go, 4. You can see we can actually move these to a different page now, and they'll all show up right there. So again, a little bit buggy, but a great feature in iOS 11. We also have a completely redesigned App Store now. So if you go into the App Store, you're gonna notice that everything about it is different. And what I love about it in iOS 11 is that it focuses solely on discoverability. So we have this Today view right here, which is gonna show you new applications every single day, which are curated, by actual people. So this is really cool. I absolutely love the new App Store in iOS 11. And you can just see the UI is so much better as well. The icons down here are so much better. You can see everything just looks a lot better, a lot more modern than it did in any previous version of iOS. We also have a semi-dark mode. So if you go to General Accessibility, Display Accommodations, Invert Colors, Smart Invert, this is somewhat of a dark mode. So you can see if we go back to the home screen now, it doesn't really look that great, but it is a smart invert. You can see it says Smart Invert Color reverses the colors of the display except for images, media, and some apps that use dark color styles. So you can see we basically have a dark layout here with the green still showing as regular. So it really does look like a dark mode, but I still don't consider this a real dark mode, but still a pretty cool feature here in iOS 11. You can also scan documents in iOS 11 now. So if you go and click on this little plus icon here in the notes, go to scan documents, you can actually scan a document and it's actually pretty accurate. So I've only used this one time in real life, but it actually worked out great because I was able to add my signature and everything. So this would be really useful as well on the iPad. We also have a much more realistic and human sounding Siri now. What day is today?
It's Wednesday, September 20th, 2017.
So you can see it sounds a lot better and a lot more realistic, more like a human than a robot. We also have some live photos filters. So if you take a picture and you have the live mode enabled, you can see here you can have it loop, you can have it bounce, you can have long exposure. You have all these cool new features here in iOS 11, which are actually really cool, and I use them not too much, but when I do use them, it looks awesome. We also have this new feature here down in the control center. It's called Do Not Disturb while driving. So this is basically gonna make you not allow notifications while you're driving. It's gonna be able to pick up on when you're driving and not. I actually covered this a lot in a beta video a while back, so if you want to watch that, that's in the cards right now. But this is a really cool feature and definitely a feature that's really going to save lives. So good on Apple for actually implementing this into iOS. Speaking of saving lives, we also have a new feature called Emergency SOS, which is really big. I'm sure a lot of you have already heard about this and know exactly what it is if you've watched my videos in the past. But this is going to allow you to contact emergency services very easily by rapidly clicking the sleep wake button for 5 times in a row. So if you click it 5 times in a row, the power button right here, it's going to actually initiate emergency SOS and contact emergency services. You also have the option here to auto call if you want, and you also have the option to set up emergency contacts in health if you wanted to set up emergency contacts other than just 911 or whoever you're trying to contact. If we go to general iPhone storage, you're going to notice that we have a whole new UI here for the storage section of your iPhone. We also have a new feature here for offloading unused applications. So basically this is just going to delete applications but keep their data when you're running low on space. So this is really cool, and I really love the new UI of this storage section right here. It looks a lot better and a lot more modern. We also have new wallpapers in iOS 11, the final version and the GM version. We didn't actually get these in any betas, which is surprising, but we got them in the final version. So if you go to stills, you can see we have some new wallpapers down here, which are pretty nice, and I'm actually using one right now on my home screen. But yeah, those are some of the major new features. There's a lot of other small UI changes and a lot of just smaller changes in general, like updates to the maps. Maps look a lot better. A lot of smaller details as well. Like I said, I covered a lot of these in my previous videos. So if you want to find out about all those features, if you really want to get in depth with it, you can check those videos out in the cards right now. As far as performance goes, iOS 11 is definitely faster on the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, as well as the 6S and SE. However, it's a lot more noticeable on the 7 and 7 Plus. Now, I will say that on the iPhone 5S and the iPhone 6, iOS 11 is actually not a good upgrade. And this is actually why I put in the title, why you may not want to upgrade, because iOS 11 actually slows down the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 5S by a good margin. Now, I'm also gonna have reviews coming on the iPhone 5S and iPhone 6 on iOS 11, so you can get get more detail as far as how bad it actually is on iOS 11. Now, of course, it's not going to be terrible for everybody, but for me, in my experience, it definitely did slow down the device. Now, here's another big reason why you may not want to update to iOS 11, and that's because it is actually worse on battery life than iOS 10.3.3. Now, I didn't go into as much detail as iDevice Help did, but if you want to check out iDevice Help's video, I'll have a link down in the description below. He goes into great detail on why the battery life and how much better the battery life actually is on 10.3.3 versus iOS 11. So with all that being said, should you update? I'd say if you have an iPhone 7 or 7 Plus and you have no interest in jailbreaking, I would definitely go for it. I would definitely update to iOS 11 as soon as you can. Now, if you're on an iPhone SE or an iPhone 6s, I would definitely strongly consider updating to iOS 11, but it wouldn't be, a no-brainer like it is on the iPhone 7 or 7 Plus. But of course, on the iPhone 5s and 6, I would stay put on 10.3.3 or even downgrade to 10.3.3 if you've already updated to iOS 11. The battery life and the slower performance is just a deal breaker for me. And then of course, if you're on any device and you're waiting for a jailbreak, I would not update to iOS 11 because there's a lot better chance of a jailbreak coming on iOS 10 than iOS 11. But anyways, guys, that's it for this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also, make sure to subscribe for a lot more iOS 11, iPhone 8, and iPhone 10 coverage coming very soon. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon.